What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about crypto today and why it's a good time to get into the markets. As of right now, we're going to specifically revolve around Bitcoin because it is the kind of alpha that leads the pack through these crazy bullish environments that we've experienced throughout the years with crypto. So I will be talking about Bitcoin. There will be a lot of Bitcoin charts being discussed, but just understand what's good for Bitcoin. If you go, and I'm going to get rid of my face here right now, actually. If you go on CoinGecko and you're in the top 100 coins, right, or coin market cap or whatever, crypto bubbles, whatever you want to use, the top 100 coins, probably even the top 200, you're more likely than not going to, you're probably going to find a winner, something that makes you money if you just buy and hold it for at least the next like 3 to 6 months, maybe even a year, right? Depending on each crypto. If Bitcoin's doing well, the majority of the market's going to do well as well, right? So that's why we're going to talk about Bitcoin in a few different metrics going forward. So with that in mind, let's actually get started on this. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you enjoy content like this. This is a kind of more geared toward beginners video, right? Or to people who might be curious about the crypto market, even naysayers of the crypto market, right? These are arguments and possibilities that I'm addressing to promote the idea that we do have more upside left before this cycle's over, right? And first, let's just identify, right? When people talk about a crypto cycle, a Bitcoin cycle, a bull market, what are they referring to? Because a lot of people, it's crazy how many people don't know what a bull market is. Like there's people right now that there's a lot of people in crypto. I'm very surprised that are saying we're not in a bull market right now. And obviously I get it, right? And it's kind of a speculative or a subjective kind of opinion, right? Because as of right now, yes, over the past 6 months we are in a consolidation phase. We haven't moved up at all. This was a bull market. We're chilling, and then we're going to have another bull market. I get it. I get that thought, but really I feel like this whole thing, even what we've gone through the last 6 months, I feel like this whole thing is all one bull market, right? Identifying cycles. You can see here, and I guess I'll just draw, right? But like this is one cycle here. This is your next cycle here, right? That's 2 cycles there. This is your 3rd cycle here, your bull cycles. Here's your 4th cycle. It's a little bit uglier, but that was your 4th cycle there, right? And we are in the midst now of our 5th cycle, right? I don't know if that's easy for you to for anybody to see with that with their naked eye, but that's just what it is, right? It's not like we had a bull market here and then a bear market or a non-bull market here and then a bull market and then not a bull market and then a bull market. No, the whole thing was a bull market, right? We didn't, whenever we chilled here for about 6 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, on the 7th month we broke out, right? So 6 months of chilling. We weren't not in a bull market here, right? We were in a bull market this whole time. I think right now we are still in a bull market, okay, just first and foremost. But the next half, the second half, the best part of the bull market is about to kick off, okay? So whether you want to agree on that or not, let's just all agree that we are about to probably see some upside. And there's a lot of things that would indicate that, right? And the first thing that I kind of want to go over with that aspect in mind, and I know I've done a few videos like this recently, but I just think it pertains to what we're experiencing right now in the charts. It's the time to buy. It's the time for people who haven't gotten exposed to crypto or might not be exposed enough to really throw the hammer down, man. Put your big boy pants on, your big girl pants on, strap your shoes on, and throw your money down, man. Put your money where your mind and your heart is. It's crypto, you know it is. Again, Bitcoin, we're referencing Bitcoin because it's the Mac Daddy. What's good for Bitcoin is probably good for the top 200 coins, okay? Give or take a handful that will probably suck it up throughout the rest of the run. But anyways, on average, I'm sure you'd be able to do very well. If we look, there's a fly. Damn fly, man. It was bothering me in my last video. Oh, I'm going to get that fly, man. Just not here. I'm not going to commit violence on the stream, maybe. November was the very first Bitcoin halving that we ever had. Okay, November. November 2012, on the 28th of November 2012. From that month to the end of the cycle, we had 12 months left, right? That was the high. That was the high of the rest of the cycle, was 12 months, right? We did chill at a given point right here from a high point until we broke out. Really, we didn't even get above this high until 7 months later, Okay, still in the bull market, still entrenched in the bull market, just going through a boring time. And then we had 1 month that wasn't so boring. We moved up 471%. 12 months after the halving. The next one, and I can hear it, man. I know a lot of you guys have seen this so many times. You're like, show me something new. The monthly chart, the all-time history chart, it doesn't change. Even in a 6-month time frame, you're not going to get a whole lot of things that are different, man. So it is going to be a lot of the same stuff, especially these big events, these big deals, especially on a time frame perspective, that might help us guide ourselves as to how long of a cycle we have left. From a halving to the end of the cycle, 12 months. The next halving was July 9th, 2016, to a high, 17 months. Okay, so from the halving month, 2016, to the high, that was December 2017. That was 17 months. Okay, the halving, for those of you that don't know what the halving is too, and I would assume everybody watching this video does, but for those of you that might not, every 4 years or so, roughly, it's not a timed thing. It's a transactional thing with Bitcoin. I'm going to try to keep it simple here, but essentially every 4 years, essentially revolving around these cycles, there's a point in time where the Bitcoin supply being put into the market every day gets cut in half. Every day right now, there's a certain amount of Bitcoins that is getting minted every single day, right? In approximately like 3.5 years from now, that will get cut in half. And as it has the past like 4 times that has happened. Anyways, from that event to the end of the cycle, 17 months there. The next halving was May 10th or May 11th of 2020. I still haven't gotten that right. But this month, the cycle high was 18 months later, which is pretty close to 17 months. But the end of the cycle, I feel like, was here, right? This was the end of the cycle. There is an argument to be made that this is not part of the bull cycle, right? That the bull cycle ended here with this run, and crab cycle here, a sideways market here, not the same as a bull or a bear cycle, but however you want to cut it, 11 months to that first high, very close to 12 months, 18 months to the second high, very close to 17 months. Whichever frame of reference you want to use might help guide us going forward, right? So I think if we go April and we throw on 12 months or 11 months, as maybe we've potentially seen it the shortest, that would give us at the earliest point in time for this cycle to end, based on just this look alone, would put us in about March of 2025. If we go to 18 months, which would be this over here, or 17 months over here, that puts us in October of 2025. Absolutely, we could find our high before this white line. I don't think that would happen. Absolutely, we could find our high after this white line. I think it's more likely to happen than finding it before this white line, but still I don't think it's going to happen. I would more expect something in between this zone to be the most likely outcome. I'm personally expecting October. And even with that, even with my own bias, I would say something in between these lines is the most likely, just off this metric alone. Okay, so that's how long we have left in the cycle based off the halving. You're not done yet. You thought you were off the hook that easy. That's just one metric, you guys. Let's go over the next chart, okay? We've got our halving chart here. I'm going to put it back on May. Let's make sure that we have it. May, and we'll do the first high just to be conservative, whatever. But there's your range. There's your zone. The next one, we're going over the RSI, the Bitcoin monthly RSI. What's the RSI? It stands for Relative Strength Index. What is that? I don't know, man. I couldn't do the formula. Just like I can do trigonometry, but I don't know the calculations, the formulas behind it. But I know how to input sine and cosine. All I'm trying to say is you don't need to know how to do the inputs to understand aspects about how this works and how it relates to the price action. We're going to go over those aspects now. This is the Relative Strength Index. It doesn't go above 100. It doesn't go below 0, okay? It could go down in this area, but it never has in its life because Bitcoin's just so damn bullish. You want to see what a bullish monthly RSI looks like? This is it. This is it. Anyways, the relationship, the very specific relationship I want to talk about is how each cycle high, okay, and each of these areas revolve around the cycle peaks. This was the first peak of the last cycle. This was the second peak. But still, both of these highs, just like these two highs and those two highs there, all revolved around the cycle high peaks, okay? If we take a line to the very first, high, all the way down the line, you've had two tops, one top here, and then a second top here each cycle. You've had two highs. This one was the only one that the second high didn't hit that white line, but nonetheless, it came after the first one, which did hit the white line, right? And you still had two highs, two discernible highs, right? And this high right here, this actually did, you can see this one came in with the all-time high back over here. If you can't see that, let me blow it up for you right there. That's the all-time high. That one came in there. Nonetheless, right, you had two interactions with this white line every single time. And the first one, I've done this so many times I already remember, it's 4 months from peak here to peak here, 4 months, okay? Peak here to peak here is 7 months, 4747, that's how it goes. Peak here to peak here is 4 months, and then the peak here to the peak here is 7 months, okay? This will not tell us exactly when the cycle is going to end. Not this metric alone will not tell us when, how far. Just like this, it's not going to tell us. This doesn't tell us when the cycle will end, but it gives us an idea of a range, right? That's kind of the hope behind this form of time-based analysis, okay, or event-driven analysis even. This is more of RSI-based analysis, and what this does tell us is that whenever we do interact with this trend line, which we haven't done yet, right? This high does not count, right? This high counts because it came after this interaction with the white line. We haven't had the interaction with the white line yet. I don't think it's appropriate to call this, to compare this to any of these highs at all. I don't think it doesn't even look in line, right? It's not appropriate in my opinion to compare it. This is a good thing. This implies that we have yet to have even our first touch on this trend line, and I do believe it's going to go there. I do believe it'll be one of the lower peaks that we've ever seen, but it'll still be a touch on this trend line. And then after that, we will have a 4-month period, a 7-month period, one of those two numbers in between, right? Somewhere around half a year before we see our next high come in. It might be a lull. What do each of these times look like, right? If we go to the very first high right here, okay, here's your very first high. You chilled for a month, one whole month. You were sideways. Moving sideways, didn't open or close down 10% or more. One whole month sideways, and then the next month you pumped. Very first cycle, very crazy things going on. The very next high that you had happened here, and you moved sideways for 6 months. It wasn't until the 7th month after forming your first high that you actually broke through it, and then you finished your cycle there. Phenomenal rally, phenomenal finish. First peak here, you moved sideways again for a month. You even pulled back pretty tremendously during that month, right? During your first high here, from a high to low. That's something else I want to do actually. From a high to low, 40%, man. You moved down 40%, and then the following months you went up. Phenomenal. That's something I want to do. I want to see how low did you go each time. From a high point here to a low point there, that's 35%. From a high point here to a low point there, you dropped 75%. Then from a high point there to the low point there, you drop 37%. Just something to get, I don't know, kind of get in mind going for whenever we do have this first peak, 55%. So pretty big drops, right? Even the smallest one was 35%. So, and this is toward the end of the cycle, right? Each time pretty significant drops, and we still, even last cycle, even during the weakest cycle, we still had a little bit more juice left in us. So, what was I going to do? I got distracted. Oh yeah, here, first peak, we moved sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th month. That's when we broke out, and then the 7th month we topped off, and it wasn't really that far. It was a fake out. It wasn't a real breakout, but still about a half year later. So if we're keeping this all in mind, and if we are in a, if we are in a consolidation phase of this larger move up, which I believe that we are in, right, and we break out to the upside, if we do all these things, I would expect that this next move would take us at a minimum to the 1272 to the 1618 targets here, around 100,000 to 173,000, and that could take until the end of this year, if not going into sometime next year, is kind of my expectations, right? Something like very, very fast, very, very sharp and abrupt, something like this, right? Like this, and it could continue past that, right? Maybe it goes somewhere into, maybe not June of next year, but somewhere past the first quarter of next year that we're in this zone, right? That's kind of the expectation. That looks very extreme, right? But hey, if I take this last little bit right here, from a low to a high, literally right there, couldn't have drawn it better if I tried. Put it right here at this low to that high, boom, man. I mean that hits by the end of January. And again, we could go past January to see 173K, not past January to see 100K. I think we'll be at 100K by the end of this year. I think 2024 will be the year that we break through 100K. I'm getting off on all kinds of tangents. What I'm really trying to talk about is this will be the next move. The fact, or something like this, and probably in this amount of time, where we will probably finish the next high, where we will consolidate somewhere around 103,000 to 173,000. We will consolidate again for potentially 1 month or 4 to 6 months or something like that again before having our next rally. Why am I projecting it like that? Why am I expecting that we have one move up here and then we'll have another move up later? How am I coming to this conclusion? Because of the monthly RSI, right? We haven't had our first interaction yet. We haven't had it. The time frame that we've identified here, which is, March of next year, that doesn't really agree, but October, I think, would allow for that kind of price action. I don't know. What am I looking for? That kind of repetitive behavior that we've seen on the RSI to develop and take place, right? And it really could be later than October. Like I said, I would say that the possibility of ending before March 2025 is substantially lower than ending after October of 2025, both of which I think are less likely than something in between the zone, but still, right? And we've seen it again. We've seen it where you don't have to consolidate for 6 months. You can just move down for 1 month and that's it, right? But sometimes you do, you take more time to move up. I don't know. Being that we've kind of alternated each time, we've gone 4, 7, 4, 7, 4, and each time on these 7-month spans, right? Those are the long times there. We might be due for a shorter consolidation phase, which all I'm getting to by this, if I've lost anybody, is that this next move up, perhaps we don't consolidate as long as we did this cycle before seeing our second peak on this RSI, like we did this cycle here, right? Where we had our first peak and then we consolidated for 6 months. On the 7th month, that's when we moved up and formed our second peak. I don't think it's going to be like this cycle or that cycle. I think it'll be more like this cycle here, where we have like one quick, intense drop. Maybe it lasts a month, maybe it lasts a couple months or a few months, but I don't think it'll last more than that. Anyways, all that to say that when we do move up, I would expect that this will be our first interaction with this trend line, alluding to the idea that anytime between 4 to 7 months later, around a half year later, we would see that next move up. Assuming that this move up here takes place by the end of this year, if not potentially and probably by the end of Q1. End of Q1 is March. It leaves us April, May, June, July, August, September, October. That's 7 months, man. 7 months. That's perfect. It's literally perfect. That lines up exactly with what we've seen before. And I'm going off of October personally, but it could be later, it could be earlier. You never know. These are all ideas. This could be the first cycle that interacts with this line, and then we don't get that second peak after. We don't get the same stuff we just rejected, and boom, it's dead. It's done. Probably not, based off of historical references, but you never know. So that's the RSI analysis. Okay, I'm not going to leave that one up. I guess here I can do this just for when we wrap it up at the end of the video. Okay. And last but not least, something that's very simple, right? I hope this is all very easy to kind of wrap your head around. I know I talk fast. I know I've gone over some stuff. I might get distracted or on a detour here and there. I try to keep it all relevant, of course, but I want all this stuff to be very easy for you to understand, because I'm not trying to sell you Bitcoin. If you want to buy Bitcoin, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to recommend that you don't. It's probably one of the safest investments, not in crypto, in the world. It's probably one of the safest investments. Buy gold, it's a least safe investment or a less safe investment than Bitcoin. I don't know, at least this day and age. To say that, I don't know, that might not be fair, because gold's existed a whole lot longer than Bitcoin has, right? And it's remained relevant the whole time. But Bitcoin, that detour aside, Bitcoin might just be the safest bet in the world. This video is not for Bitcoin. I'm using Bitcoin as the reference to express my bullishness on the rest of the market that you could literally blindly choose from and indulge in what would likely be more gains than what we're expecting to see in Bitcoin, okay? But Bitcoin's the Mac Daddy. He's driving the bus. She's driving the bus, whatever. So we're going over the bus route right now, right? Okay, so long-term bus route. Again, this monthly chart here goes all the way back to 2009, man. 2009, right? The earliest that we have for Bitcoin's history. Back when it was worth nothing. Anyways, Very simple metric that we're going to do here, as I identified those phases earlier, right? That's your first bull market, your second bull market, your third bull market. You can see it hopefully a little bit better with the naked eye right now. From the first all-time high to the second all-time high, that was 29 months in between there. From that all-time high to the next all-time high, that was 49 months right there. From this all-time high to the next all-time high, not the end of the cycle, but the actual all-time high, 47 months. Because while this was the end of the cycle, I think we were supposed to have another leg up. Have another leg up here, and we didn't because the DXY and other economic conditions in the world were preventing the price to grow, essentially. The dollar was too strong. The dollar was losing value. It was losing value during this time because it was going through high rates of inflation, but it was gaining strength in relativity to other currencies around the world because other currencies, most of the world actually, as bad as the 8%, 8.5% inflation was, however high it got, as bad as that was, you guys, I think it got higher than that even. There was way worse rates of inflation in modern society countries, man. Like Germany had it pretty bad, and I mean, I'm drawing blanks right now because that was years ago. But all I'm trying to say with this detour is that I think we had another leg up. We were supposed to have it. That's why I'm drawing from high to high, because also technically I am drawing from high to high, not high to the end of the cycle. This just happens to be the only cycle where the high is not the end of the cycle. Very, debatably, I would say it's very obvious that this was the end of the cycle, not here. But 47 months, 49 months lines up pretty damn close together. If we go to the very first one here, that's 40 months, still not that close to 29, but however you want to cut it, man. 29 months from this cycle high to that cycle high, 49 months from here to here. If you want to say 40 or 47, that doesn't extend our range at all. The biggest that we've seen so far is 49. The main point that I'm trying to get to, and I am drawing from high to high, so I'm going to leave it at 47, is that from this high to the current high that we have, which happened back, I don't think it was April, it was March, wasn't it? Yeah, March of this year, has only been 28 months. So for anybody, first off, before I get to the main conclusion as to like drawing the range based on this metric, for anybody that says the cycle's over, we are done, the bull cycle's dead, we're moving down, we have to go to 30K now or lower, we're going to reset and then later try again. All those people, stop it. 28 months, are you kidding me? We have the shortest economic conditions are looking better than they have probably in the last 5 years. Genuinely, like genuinely, if not 5, 4.5, things are looking. There's a bright side. I can see. That when you're under the rain clouds still, but you can see where the sunshine is. You can see. You can calculate in your head. Okay, I got about 5 more minutes of a shower before the sun comes out. We're at that point right now. Okay, at least that's how it feels to me. You never know when some weird headwinds can come in and knock the storm back your way. You never know. You don't know the future. I'm using analogies right now, but what I'm trying to say is it seems like we're in better economic conditions. You're telling me that we're going to have the shortest bull market that's ever existed for Bitcoin. That's what it feels like to you. Because we're at the end of this 6-month consolidation phase. Stop it. Stop it. Get out of your head, man. We've had 6 months. I'm going to go on a tangent here, but we've had 6-month consolidation phases before in a very strong cycle where we moved up 471% in a month. What if Bitcoin did that? That it's not going to do that this cycle, probably not, but still phenomenal. Here, during the first halving, we consolidated for 5 months, and then on the 6th month, we moved up. Here, we didn't see a new high after this high for 19 months, you guys. Or no, it might have been 16 months. Still, ridiculous. 6 months, nothing to cry over. Stop it. It's okay. Things are fine. The cycle's not over. This should be a very reassuring look right here. From high to high, this would be the shortest. This is not, again, not drawing to where we are now because that's not the high, is it? No. That's why I'm not saying 34 months. I'm saying 28 months because that's the high. If people are saying it's the end of the cycle, that's the high then. But that's not the high, man. That's not the high. I don't think it is. I think at a minimum, being that we're already at 34 bars, sorry, not 35, we're at 34 bars, being that we're there, I think we can throw out the 29 bar idea and look more to this 49, 47, potentially 40 bar range, okay? So 40, and I have it on the right high, right? I want to make sure I do, yeah. 40 being the minimum would put us out in March. That month comes up yet again, March. 47 putting us all the way out in October. That month coming up again. And then we're going to bump this range out a little bit further because it's 49 months right there. 49 months puts us out in December. End of year move. So this range, based off of this metric, gives us a little bit of a different look. It's a little bit wider. It's basically the same exact look, actually, but just a little bit wider. Nevertheless, addressing the same exact opinion I've been addressing in this whole video is that there's more time, even at a minimum, from the current month, which, by the way, it's the 13th of September right now. We still have over half a month to go. Even from this current month, we have half a year, technically over half a year before the cycle's over. What can we do with half a year's worth of time? I'm glad you asked that. I was wondering, if anyone was going to ask that. Let's do it. Let's do this. So here you can count. Here's 1 month, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're going to count 6. We're not going to use the 7th month. We're just going to go with 6. 6 months there, okay? And I think there's actually a tool, isn't there? Is it you? Where is it? Ghost feed? Is it the ghost feed? From here to there. Is that right? Yeah, like that, right? So I don't know why it comes all the way down like this. I don't know what that's about. Maybe this isn't what I was thinking of. But either way, from dot to dot, right? Because that's essentially what that was measuring, was from a low point here of this 6-month move to a high point here of that 6 months, not 7 months. Again, 6 months. Because if we only have 6 months left, that's what I'm addressing here, right? Would be that from that low point there, that we could see prices above 200, maybe even 300,000 by this time. That's all I'm trying to say, right? 6 months, even if the whole point of this last part of the video, which I feel like I'm botching, I felt like I went into it real strong, and I thought I had it all confident, but this ghost feed thing messed me up a little bit, messed with the groove. I just thought it would look better than just drawing a white line, but really this was so much quicker, and it gets the point across way better. Anyways, guys, addressing the fact that even if on the short end the cycle ends in March, that's more than enough time for Bitcoin to accomplish amazing things. And I would be surprised for several reasons that this next move up would be the end of the cycle. I would be very surprised. First and foremost, the RSI, right? Second and foremost, I feel like things economically speaking around the world, not just here in America, but specifically here in America also, things seem like they're getting better economically, and that they're only going to continue to get better. Things are seeming like a little bit less uncertain. There's still a level of uncertainty, but a lot less uncertainty than there was back in 2021 and 2023, where we went through, I would say, some very uncertain times in the world. That's starting to change right now, and I think that will continue to change and continue to be more present and assured going into 2025. I just don't see us ending here. But it could happen. Again, based off statistical historical reference, it could happen sometime around there. But that's 40 months, right? Again, assuming that 40-month time frame only is eligible based off this because I'm allowing it to be by taking this high into consideration. I very much believe the end of the cycle got robbed, and I very much believe if we weren't going through rough economic times, we would have been at higher prices. We would have broke 100K last cycle. I very much think so. So I do believe 47 months is a more appropriate, 47 to 49 months is a more appropriate range. And if that were the case, because that's 40 months in March, we had 7 months to 3, that'd be October, right? October. This would be the more appropriate window, technically, based off the metric that I'm doing. Based off the metric that we're going over, this is actually an inappropriate window. Because again, the 29-month went out the window. We've already passed that. We've already passed that. Not saying that it can't happen. We can't have something that's in the 30-month range, or it can happen. I'm just going off of what we have lying in front of us here, okay? And again, the whole idea, why this makes more sense to me, somewhere toward the end of the year makes sense to me, is we have our run up now. We consolidate for probably a good half of the year, or at least a month, if not to 6 months, some time, and then we have enough time left in the year to continue to get the party rolling and move up to those prices to the promised land, probably worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm assuming Bitcoin will be worth over $500,000 when it's all said and done, but I don't know, man. I feel like I tried to make this video as simple as possible, and I don't know how good of a job I did with that. So let me know in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I hope this video, I hope it wasn't too confusing, and I hope people who might have been on the fence or on the fringe of buying crypto over the past like month or so, or even at like the past week or so, I hope this opens your eyes a little bit to the idea, especially any of the mega bears out there. And I know if you're mega bearish, I know it's really hard to change your opinion, right? You only see this, but maybe this video will help change your opinions, right? Based off of the halving, the extensions left in the market after the halving, based off of the RSI analysis, based off of the all-time high to all-time high analysis. And there's at least 3 other things I can think of that all also point toward the end of the year. But I went over 3 things right now, and that took me like over 30 minutes to do. So I'm not going to go over it in depth, or I'm not going to keep going. But there are other metrics that don't just suggest that we have higher prices, which they do, but also that suggests that we have longer time of attaining these prices, right? It's going to take more time, all in all. So anyways, that's that. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you don't like the video, let me know what I did wrong and why you hate me. And I will see you guys on the next one. I'm just going to measure from low to low here, just for funsies. First low, 38 months there. This low here to that low there, 47 months. Just kind of like the highs, right? You would expect a similar time frame, low to low there, 47 months. Hey, is that the actual low? That is the actual low. So with that in mind, 47 months, 2 cycles in a row, right, from the first low to the next low. Because that's the low of the bear cycle. This is right. It's just like this was the end of the bull cycle. That's the high, but we're going like low to low. Anyways, 47, 47, 38, a little bit closer of a range than the high to high. From the low, if we were to go to 38, that'd give us our next low in January of 2026. Generally, bear markets last for how long? Man, I was going to end the video, but I'm doing a different. This isn't an analysis. When I said I had like 3 other metrics that I could go over, this wasn't one of them. I was just kind of curious, so I'm running with it right now. But 5 months to the downside. This one took like a year, right? Like to the T, 14 months, pretty close to a year. 14 months down. I'm measuring the bear cycles right now, in case it's not obvious. 12 months there, that's the one that was a year. 14 months, 12 months, 5 months. We're not going to count the 5-month one. It's an outlier, 12 months there. So assuming that January 2026, 38 months was here, that would imply then that potentially it would be January 2025 that the cycle ends. That doesn't sound right to me, man. That person doesn't sound right. So I'm going to say probably not 38 months between lows, probably. I think 47, being that it's hit multiple times, might be a better metric to go off of. Let's just see, 47 months would be in October. If we are to end the cycle 12 months before then, which we've done twice before, that'd be in October of 2025. And that's something that we've been addressing, right? That's an area that we've been addressing. That number, that area, that time area keeps coming up, man. And maybe it's longer, maybe it's shorter, maybe it's not exactly 47 months. I would expect it to be around there, but tomato, potato, whatever, man, it's not done. There's more to go. It's a great time to get in, you guys. It's a phenomenal, man. I wish before I actually gave the adios and told everyone goodbye. First off, I wish I included that part. I didn't think it was going to be that in depth, though, so I probably wouldn't have done it if I'd known that. But I wish I told everybody this part here, or at least I went over this, right, to conclude it, which I'm going to right now, is that if you're looking to buy crypto, if you're looking to buy Bitcoin specifically, or any crypto, here's where Bitcoin is relative to this whole range, right? And we can throw a fib on that and tell us that from a high to a low point of this range, we are still below the halfway point. The 0.5, that's the halfway point of this range, right? On a percentage basis, essentially. It's not like 50% from the high to the low. That's not what it is. Just like from this high to this low, it's 50% of the range. We're below half the range. You're still below the all-time high, so yes, the answer is yes, it's a great time to buy, but being that you're below the halfway point, you're even around like the 40% point, I think it's a perfect time to buy, man. I don't think it's too late to buy at all. Even if we move up to here, man, it's still not too late to buy. but the window is closing. Time is running out. Get your stuff in order. All of you people who are saying we're going to do this, stop it. Stop it. You're going to scare the noobs away. They're going to lose their money, man. We don't want them to lose money. We want them all to get rich. Noobs are the most fun with money, man. New people who got into this market right here and they make a ton of money, they're the best, man. They're going to have so much. They didn't have to go through all this grueling hardness, right? They're just going to party when it comes, right? Us, though, us people who have been around for the whole damn cycle, and specifically the last 6 months of this boring time, we're going to be smart with our money when it comes, right? We're going to be smart. We're going to let the good times roll too, but we're going to be smart, man. We know how hard it was. We know how hard it was. It's going to be exciting. It's going to pay off, but stop it. Stop it, all you people. That's the main thing I wanted to say. Anyways, guys, I'm going to end the video on that note. Not the ending that we deserve, but it's the ending that we get. I'll see you on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Have a good day, and bye-bye.